Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael. Welcome to the Gas and Gavel video channel. Today, we are going to take a look at this 2018 Jaguar F-type coupe. This 2018 Jaguar F-type is finished in a Fuji white over a ebony leather and suede interior. This 2018 Jaguar F-type base trim is powered by a 2.0 liter inline-4 turbocharged motor. This turbocharged inline-4 motor makes 296 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. All that power is routed to the rear wheels via an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. And the inline-4 turbocharged base motor does a 0-60 time in 5.4 seconds and has a top speed of 155 miles per hour. Jaguar started in 1922, but it was then known as the Swallow Sidecar Company, and it was founded by William Lyons and William Walmsley. The Jaguar cat name first appeared in 1935, and after the company was named Jaguarcars Limited after World War II. In 1989, the Ford Motor Company purchased Jaguar and made it one of its subsidiaries. Finally, in 2008, an Indian multinational conglomerate called Tata Motors purchased both Jaguar and Land Rover directly from Ford. Today, both brands of both Jaguar and Land Rover are owned completely by Tata Motors. Again, an Indian privately held company. So the Jaguar name does have significant race pedigree and race history. The Jaguar manufacturer has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans over 7 times since 1951. The first 24 Hours of Le Mans win for Jaguar took place in 1951, and its most recent wins in the 24 Hours of Le Mans was in 1988 and 1990. Giving Jaguar over 7 24-hour Le Mans title wins. And that's one fast cat. The Jaguar Motor Company was known in the 1950s and 1960s by such well-known makes and models such as the Jaguar, etype, the very well-known British two-door convertible coupe. More recently, in 1990s, when Jaguar decided to enter the wedge supercar race against the likes of Lamborghini and Ferrari, Jaguar introduced the pretty exotic looking Jaguarxj 220. And what we see in front of us right now, which we're going to test drive today, is Jaguar's latest and final ultimate creation, the Jaguar f-type, the essentially spiritual successor to the very popular 1950s, 1960s Jaguar e-type. In the model year 2018, the Jaguar f-type received a substantial mid-cycle update to its exterior, interior, and engine bay. For the model year 2018, the Jaguar f-type received a mid-cycle update composed of a redesigned front bumper, updated LED headlights and taillights, a redesigned rear bumper, mid-cycle updates for the interior include an updated Jaguar infotainment system, and in the engine compartment, one of the largest mid-cycle updates was the replacement of the V6 base motor with a turbocharged inline-4 motor, a first for Jaguar to put an inline-4 turbo motor in a Jaguar. And we'll definitely do a much more thorough and in-depth look at all those mid-cycle updates for the exterior, interior, and engine bay during the interior, exterior, and engine tour of this 2018 Jaguar f-type base trim. The f-type is offered in a two-door coupe and a two-door soft-top convertible. The 2018 Jaguar f-type is offered essentially in three different trims. You have the base trim that we're test driving here today. The base level trim is powered by that turbocharged inline-4 motor. The mid-level trim above the base trim features a supercharged V6 motor, and this supercharged V6 motor comes in three different configurations depending on how much horsepower: a 340 horsepower, a 380 horsepower, and a 400 horsepower variant of the mid-level trim supercharged V6. And at the top of the line of the Jaguar f-type trim is the Jaguar f-type R and the Jaguar f-type SVR, and both of these top trim versions of the f-type is powered by a supercharged V8 motor. That supercharged V8 motor pushes out 550 horsepower, and the SVR pushes out an astounding 575 horsepower to all four wheels. That is definitely one powerful cat. The Jaguar f-type was introduced in the 2014 model year and ran all the way until 2025. The original MSRP of the base 2018 Jaguar F-Type was $60,895 before options. As of 2025, the Jaguar Motor Company's reputation or brand reputation is definitely in a very strange area. Jaguar's reputation or brand value as of 2025 is best described using the word mixed. And to understand why, let's take a look at the history as far as the brand of Jaguar itself, not as a company that produces cars, but as a company that produces cars that people actually want to buy and drive. So when Jaguar started way back in the 1920s, 1930s, they did two things great. They made great cars and they won a lot of races. So in the 1950s, Jaguar's claim to fame was essentially the two-door convertible, the Jaguar etype, which essentially is the predecessor to what we see in front of us right now, this 2018 Jaguar F-Type. It is one of the most in-demand Jaguars in the 1950s, and it is still highly sought after right now in 2025. And as stated, all throughout these decades, Jaguar won races. For example, the Jaguar Motor Company won over 7 24 hours at Le Mans throughout its decades, starting in 1951 and with its two most recent wins in 1988 and 1990. So Jaguar definitely knows how to build fast cars and compete and beat their competitors, both on the streets and on the racetrack. In the mid-1990s, when Lamborghini and Ferrari were having their wedge design wars, Jaguar threw the hat into the essentially the wedge race and created the definitely still collectible today, the very exotic looking Jaguarxj 220. So Jaguar definitely knows how to design very good looking cars and put it together. If we view the examples of the 1950s Jaguar E-Type and the 1990s Jaguarxj 220, and even looking at this 2018 Jaguar F-Type, it looks great, it performs great. So what went wrong? So the downfall of the Jaguar brand and name and company itself basically began in early 2023. During this time, Jaguar announced essentially a very controversial rebrand. It was essentially a rebrand that focused on a new lifestyle-focused, progressive brand image. And the entire marketing campaign essentially circled around discontinuing every single make and model from the Jaguar lineup that had an internal combustion engine. And essentially, Jaguar's goal was to replace the entire Jaguar lineup, not just with newly redesigned cars, but an entire Jaguar lineup made of only electric vehicles by 2026. And they followed through with that branding. Essentially in 2024, Jaguar ceased production of every single internal combustion engine of the Jaguar lineup, including what we see in front of us, the Jaguar F-Type. I am currently filming this F-Type in November 2025, and as we speak, Jaguar is not producing any car whatsoever. And to demonstrate how detrimental this rebrand was, essentially right around when this Jaguar rebrand was introduced or announced in April 2025, Jaguar that month lost 96% of their sales. And essentially in the month of April 2025, Jaguar only sold 49 vehicles worldwide. So essentially, Jaguar company is essentially betting their entire future on this market of essentially very high-end, low production electric vehicles, a la Lucid, a la Rivian, and they're hoping that this entire plan will pay off in the future. So I feel I can see why this rebrand was very controversial, and essentially right now seems to have led to the downfall of the Jaguar brand, not just with the public, but also with car enthusiasts. And I can kind of see from various points of why the rebrand would be so controversial. Number one, this entire idea of essentially replacing all of their internal combustion engine cars with all electric vehicles by 2026 kind of rubs people the wrong way, because as you can see, if you read the market on EVs right now, they're not that popular. Again, there was a lot of big hope for electric vehicles, but here in 2025 it seems like the demand for cars such as Tesla, Rivian have either stagnated or decreased or just dried up completely. Number two, I feel by Jaguar essentially ending production of all internal combustion engines and basically saying a big FU to every single person that's ever remained loyal to the Jaguar brand. It feels like they're essentially spitting in the face of the legacy that they built up throughout all these decades, from all those Le Mans wins to the Jaguar etype to the Jaguarxj 220 to what we see in front of us, the Jaguar f-type. It seems like they're just like deleting their history and basically trying to create a new brand strategy that essentially focuses on, at the end of the day, corporate profit over the needs of consumers. And lastly, the rebrand is, in my opinion, and I think the opinion shared by many people when they first saw the images of the rebranded Jaguar lineup, is essentially just ugly and just plain tacky. So if you take a look, Jaguar released two images along with their essentially PR rebrand, and essentially it featured basic cube-shaped EV vehicles in very bright pink and blue hues, and essentially very seemed to me essential ripoff of the Rolls-Royce Spectre, and it has zero Jaguar DNA in any of the designs. And to top it off, all electric. It was just a very hard pill to swallow for the public, and essentially the public revolted. And as of right now, again, it seems like the reputation of Jaguar is in the toilet right now, or as folks like to say it nowadays, Jaguar has definitely fallen off, and is definitely has right now a very uncertain future, not only in North America but worldwide. And that is the current state of Jaguar as of 2025. And that's why I feel that this review of this 2018 Jaguar f-type was so important. First off, this f-type demonstrates very clearly what Jaguar was capable of, and most importantly, it's one big giant reminder of what Jaguar can still be in the future, regardless of rebrands, regardless of PR opinion. This f-type essentially embodies everything that is great about the f-type, and within its soul captures every single great element of the Jaguar Motor Company. And I hope by the end of this review that you guys will see that for those that have lost hope in the Jaguar brand, that the F-Type is a giant reminder of what Jaguar still can be in the future. Let's take a look at the key that you get when you purchase your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. And here it is. Here is your 2018 Jaguar F-Type key. Definitely has some pretty good weight to it. It's finished in a essentially flat black plastic with a chrome trim on the left side. And on the left side of the remote, that chrome trim does have the essentially Jaguar name etched into that stainless steel finish, both on the front and rear of the remote itself. Very, very nice. There are multiple electronic functions to your Jaguar key. 5 to be exact. You have your lock and your unlock. And you have your powered rear trunk. Very nice, very convenient. Press once to open and press again to close. That's a great convenient feature. Another great feature of your Jaguar key is that, let's say you're fumbling in the dark for something and you need a little light. Your key does have a headlight button, something not really found in other cars, but in this Jaguar, you can go ahead and click that button there and your LED F-type headlights turn on, and you press it again to turn off. That's a great safety and a convenience feature in your Jaguar key. And last but not least, in case of emergencies, you do have an emergency panic button. Just in case things go wrong, you can go ahead and hit that there, and your Jaguar will roar out and set off its alarm. Overall, definitely very nice looking, nice feeling, and absolutely functional key of your Jaguar F-Type. Let's take a look at the motor of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type base trim. And here it is. Here is the motor found in your 2018 Jaguar F-Type base trim model. Here is your 2.0 liter inline-4 turbocharged Jaguar motor. This turbocharged inline-4 Jaguar motor puts out 296 horsepower. Here is your 2.0 liter Ingenium inline-4 turbocharged Jaguar motor. This 2.0 liter inline-4 turbocharged motor puts out 296 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. All that power is routed to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, and power is sent to the rear wheels. This 2.0 inline-4 turbocharged motor has a 0 to 60 time of 5.4 seconds and has a top speed of 155 miles per hour. The 2018 Jaguar F-type base trim motor does the standing quarter mile at 14.99 seconds at 97 miles per hour. This motor gets a very respectable 23 city and 30 highway mileage, with a combined 26 city highway. This turbocharged inline-4 motor is Jaguar's first inline-4 turbo motor put into a Jaguar, and it was introduced in 2018. And this motor is part of the Jaguar F-type's 2018 mid-cycle update. As a reminder, when the base trim Jaguar F-type was introduced before 2018, that base car motor was equipped with a supercharged V6 motor as its base engine. In 2018, as part of the exterior and interior mid-cycle updates for the Jaguar F-type, Jaguar decided to forego the V6 motor in the base trim F-type and replaced it with this 2.0 liter inline-4 turbocharged motor. Again, a first for Jaguar in 2018. And of course, to access the engine, you must open up the forward hinged or reverse tilt, or what I like to call the clamshell hood, to access that inline-4 turbocharged motor. Essentially, the hood opens forward instead of backwards like in traditional cars. So the turbocharged inline-4 Jaguar motor actually weighs 115 pounds less than the previous generation base model trim F-type equipped with the V6 motor. So although you lose 2 cylinders and a supercharger, you do gain essentially a significant, almost a human person in weight loss of 115 pounds. When the F-type comes equipped with the inline-4 turbocharged motor. And the benefits of having a forward hinged hood are twofold. The first is essentially the idea is that by having the hood open forward, you're able to access the engine bay and various parts of the related engine components much easier. And the second is that if your hood were to ever fail, essentially it won't fly back at you and shatter your windshield. So again, the forward hinge hood, or the clamshell hood as I like to call it, essentially offers two type of benefits. One, to make it more convenient, and the second is to reduce your anxiety. So let's take a look at this engine bay from an enthusiast perspective. Straight off the bat, I think one of the most unique features of this F-type is definitely the forward hinge, or the clamshell hood. Definitely very unique. I love how essentially part of the hood is also part of the fender. So when you open it up, you can get a view of a little bit of the front wheel well. And I love how the whole front hood just tilts forward, definitely giving it that very exotic car vibe, and definitely sets it apart from its competitors, such as the mid-engine Porsche Boxster and its other competitor, the mid-engine C8 Stingray Corvette. Although the forward hinge hood looks heavy, I can tell you right now that it is very light. Essentially, from closed to open, you can do it with one hand. And I believe it's because of these two very large and long hood props that essentially help lift up that very heavy hood. Again, making it very easy for a single person to open up that hood and work on their engine bay of the Jaguar F-type. I love how, although this is the base trim with the inline-4 turbocharged motor, Jaguar definitely made the engine bay very clean and very sleek. There's this very nice valve cover covering that inline-4 turbocharged motor with the Jaguar Ingenium wording etched into the valve cover. To access various points of the motor, it's very clearly marked, right front and center. If you need to add oil to your inline-4 turbocharged motor, it tells you right here on the cap. It also tells you exactly which oil to use, which is great. Don't need to Google that. You have access to your oil dipstick right underneath. I love how everything is clearly marked in a bright yellow to find, such as the dipstick and the cap to add oil to your inline-4 motor. And mounted on the driver's side of the inline-4 motor, you can get a little peep of your turbocharger that's mounted somewhere down here. But you can see the piping running all the way to the front, which I can only assume attaches to some sort of front mount intercooler. Very cool, very nice. And it seems like the parts of the turbocharger are wrapped in this nice little heat wrapping to help keep the ambient temperatures inside that turbocharger cooler. Very nice. So if you took a look very closely to the front of the inline-4 turbocharged motor, there's this large plastic piece that essentially looks like a ram air intake that channels air from the front grille of your Jaguar and essentially rams that cool air either into the radiator or into the core of the intercooler to help bring some nice cool air to your turbocharged motor. It's a very nice performance addition. I love how also with the clamshell open, you do get a nice viewpoint and easy access points to your Jaguar's F-type headlights. So in case you ever need to change any of the bulbs from your LED F-type headlights, it gives you definitely easy access. Another large advantage of having a front hinge or clamshell hood, it just allows you to work on not just the motor, but also various front end components, such as the radiator, or again, the bulbs of your headlights. Overall, again, a very beautifully set up Jaguar motor, despite being a base. Lots of effort put into this engine bay, from the clamshell hood to the valve cover to the plastic trimming. I believe that all that's really missing in this engine compartment is some sort of a carbon fiber front strut tower bar connecting the front suspension components. But other than that, this car definitely has all the recipes of a very exotic car. And here's the engine bay of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type base trim 2.0 inline-4 turbocharged motor. Let's begin the exterior tour of this 2018 Jaguar F-Type. As part of the 2018 exterior mid-cycle update of the Jaguar F-Type, the Jaguar F-Type's headlights were updated, not only in design, but also in bulb type. Essentially, the previous year's Jaguar F-Types came with bi-xenon headlights. In 2018, the headlights of the Jaguar F-Type were upgraded to complete full LED headlights, from the low beams to high beams to the turn signals. Essentially, the entire headlight became an LED headlight. And in case you forget, essentially inside of the headlight, Jaguar does remind you that these headlights have Jaguar LED technology. Again, these redesigned headlights were updated and upgraded with LED headlights. In the mid-cycle updates of the headlights, the design was kept the same, but the hardware inside of it was updated. I think these are one of the best looking headlights of all makes and models of the Jaguar lineup. They're sleek, they're aggressive. Here you can see the LED high beam and low beam. On the side, there is an LED turn signal light strip. The entire housing is finished in a flat black finish, giving it a very aggressive look to an already aggressive looking design. I think that dark housing headlights contrast very well with that ghost white paint. Within the headlight itself, Jaguar uses various textures and color profiles. So essentially, if you look very closely, to the headlight housing itself, not only does the headlight have a black painted finish, but there are also, surrounding the LED high beams and low beams, a very subtle chrome trim highlighting the LED headlights. Accentuating that aggressive design using that chrome trim. That is the driver's side. Here's the passenger side. Another mid-cycle 2018 update to the Jaguar F-Type took place in the entire front bumper. Here is your updated 2018 mid-cycle updated front bumper. Essentially, for the 2018 mid-cycle update, the front bumper was essentially simplified. Basically, it went from 5 different front air ducts to essentially 2 small ones and 1 big one. And basically, the design became much more simple, but much more aggressive. and I actually prefer the look of the 2018 updated bumper. It just looks very, very clean compared to the previous year's bumper, which just had way too many front end openings. The front center grille is definitely functional, definitely quintessential Jaguar. Within that black painted honeycomb grille, there is this Jaguar logo finished in a silver trim with a race red center. The front painted grille is definitely functional. You can definitely see the intercooler and radiator peeking throughout that honeycomb grille. To the right and left sides of the mid-cycle 2018 updated front bumper are these honeycomb ducts that house your parking centers. And one of my favorite parts of the mid-cycle update of the 2018 front bumper is a very subtle integrated front lip spoiler that is basically attached to the bottom portion of the front bumper, giving it a very low slung angular appearance. And I love how it's painted in a contrasting shiny black to accentuate that spoiler. Definitely very clean, aggressive design of the 2018 mid-cycle updated front bumper. The headlights do feature hidden headlight washers to clean up those LED headlights located underneath the headlights. The front clamshell hood features two heat ducts integrated into the hood. The front clamshell hood features various very nice design details. Let's start with the body lines. Running front and down center are two center running body lines that run the center line of the hood, giving the front clamshell hood a very bulging, aggressive, muscular appearance. So whether you have a inline 4 underneath that hood, or a supercharged V6 or a supercharged V8, regardless of what's underneath that clamshell hood, the hood is definitely muscular in appearance with these hood lines and body lines integrated into the center channel of the hood. There are two hood, what to me looked like essentially hood vents to allow hot air to escape from that Jaguar motor that is painted a contrasting shiny black. But when I took a closer look at these two vents, they are actually non-functional vents. They do not open. So unfortunately, these hood vents are more ornamental than functional. But they do look great. The fenders feature a Jaguar black trims fender inlet that is unfortunately not functional, but it does feature this honeycomb finish on the inside, does have the Jaguar name etched into it, and does provide a nice color contrast, breaking up that front fender. Both on the driver's side and passenger side. That fender emblem or inlet is also placed very strategically right underneath the opening of the clamshell hood. The roof of your Jaguar F-Type features a solid hood with a shark fin antenna mounted in the rear center. There is a factory option of a panoramic roof, but since this is the base trim model, this car does not come equipped with one and just gives you a simple body colored painted solid roof. The side mirrors are painted a dual color with a flat black painted pedestal and a body painted color top portion. There is an integrated LED turn signal. These mirrors are heated and they are powered to open and close. This car features the mid-cycle updated 2018 wheels, and in 2018, in the R Dynamic trim package of the base model Jaguar F-Type, the wheels were upgraded to these 5-spoke staggered 20-inch wheels. These 20-inch wheels feature 5 spokes painted in a silver painted finish. Each spoke does have a textured angles to them. In the center of the 20-inch 5-spoke wheel and tire package is a red colored Jaguar logo with chrome lug nuts. The front 20-inch rim is wrapped in a 255, 35, 20-inch tire. Up front, behind these 20-inch 5-spoke wheels, is a Jaguar branded big brake caliper finished in a silver finish with the Jaguar logo etched into the caliper. This big brake caliper clamps onto a pretty large front brake disc, and behind the wheel tire package and the brake package within the suspension, this car features the essentially the base non-adjustable suspension. It's tuned from the factory one way to be both aggressive in cornering, but also capable of absorbing and driving over rougher roads. So it's essentially the base suspension is a balance of performance and comfort. But in the higher trim models, there is a option for adjustable performance race suspension. Let's circle over to the rear wheel and tire. Again, this features a staggered wheel setup with the rear wheels a little wider than the front. The 5-spoke 20-inch wheels in the rear are wrapped in a slightly wider 295/30 ZR 20-inch tire. You have your 5 spokes finished in that silver finish, that red Jaguar logo. In the rear, you have a smaller single caliper brake caliper left in a silver trim color. Clamping down a slightly smaller polished brake rotor. Overall, a very clean wheel and tire package. I think these 20-inch wheels fill up the wheel well of this Jaguar F-Type very, very well. And those 5 spokes definitely leaves large openings for you to admire those large front Jaguar branded big brake calipers. Again, just a very clean design for a very cleanly designed 2-door coupe. And here's the wheel and tire package of your Jaguar F-Type, featuring the 2018 mid-cycle update 20-inch 5-spoke wheels. The door panels feature these very cool, functional, electronic door handles. And essentially, when your car is not in use, the door handles basically sit flush with the entire door. And from certain angles, essentially, that door handle disappears from the side profile. But when you do need to get into your car or you unlock your car, the door handles electronically pop out, allowing you to open the door of your Jaguar F-Type. Definitely a very cool combination. There's not many cars nowadays with an electronic door like this. Again, it's both function and style. And I like how a very subtle nod to Jaguar. When you open up that electronic door handle, there is a Jaguar logo embedded into that door handle. And then you just pull it right out. And you go into your Jaguar, close it up, and when you're all done, the door handle goes right back in and disappears. The rear of the Jaguar F-Type features these very aggressive looking. They're both aggressive and futuristic looking and definitely fit the body lines of the Jaguar very well. Are these LED rear taillights. The rear LED taillights feature a double LED light bar. I love how thin and angular they are, and they definitely accentuate that really wide rear fender. Both futuristic and aggressive at the same time. Underneath the driver's side taillight, there is the F-Type logo, emblem, and mounted right center of the rear hatch is your marquee Jaguar emblem. This 2018 Jaguar F-Type also features the 2018 mid-cycle updated rear bumper. And that rear bumper consists of an updated, redesigned, black painted rear racing diffuser. And that rear black painted racing diffuser houses two different elements To the left and right of the diffuser are integrated reverse lights integrated into the rear diffuser, allowing the taillights to have a very clean appearance, not necessitating integrating reverse lights into them. Another distinguishing feature of the 2018 mid-cycle updated rear bumper of the F-Type is the center exit exhaust, featuring this huge slotted rectangular chrome trimmed single tip exhaust integrated right into the center of that diffuser, allowing all that hot air to escape from your turbocharged inline-4 motor. The center of the updated bumper also features a integrated rear view camera. So one distinguishing way to tell between the F-Type trims, especially in the 2018 and up models, is essentially looking at the rear exhaust tip. So when the 2018 Jaguar F-Type integrated the inline-4 into the base trim of the Jaguar F-Type, the inline-4 base trim received this essentially like quad-shaped rectangular single tip exhaust, whereas the higher trim models with the supercharged V6 or the supercharged V8 features a dual circular center exit exhaust. So that's one way to tell the different trims, especially in the 2018 and up models of the Jaguar F-Type, just by looking at the rear exhaust tip. And we'll play a clip of this exhaust right now. I'd also like to note, in the base trim of the Jaguar F-Type, there is a factory option costing you a full $300 for a variable exhaust that allows you to change the sound frequency and loudness of your exhaust from your center console. This car is equipped with that variable exhaust, and essentially when the variable exhaust is closed, the car is quiet, but when you want to open up that full exhaust and really hear that inline-4 turbocharged motor, you can click a button on the center console and the baffles open up, and it allows you to really hear the complete loudness of that inline-4 turbocharged motor. The rear hatch features this very unique integrated third brake light that is essentially integrated into the roof portion of the hatch of your Jaguar F-Type. And last but not least, one of my favorite features of the rear end of the Jaguar F-Type is most definitely what hides essentially underneath this Jaguar emblem. So underneath this Jaguar emblem, this entire portion right here is actually a deployable electronic rear spoiler. And it essentially raises itself at certain speeds to give you some more downforce. And at lower speeds, it closes and essentially closes and sits flush with the remaining body lines of the rear end. Definitely clean design. It doesn't even look like the rear end has a rear spoiler when the rear spoiler is closed. You can also open this rear spoiler manually from a button that is integrated into the center console of your Jaguar F-Type. Let's take a look at the trunk of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. And here it is. Here is the trunk of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type two-door coupe. The two-door coupe definitely has a lot more storage space compared to its convertible sibling. Essentially, from what I heard, the convertible sibling's trunk is essentially half of this. At least with the two-door coupe, you get essentially a very large hatch with a fairly wide, maybe not deep, but definitely wide trunk that if you do remove this privacy screen, you can store longer, thinner objects straight through to the driver compartment. There's roughly about 10 cubic feet of space in the trunk of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. The entire trunk is lined in a very nice soft touch fabric all the way around. As mentioned earlier, there is a integrated removable privacy screen so that when you close up the hatch of your F-Type, it essentially blocks would-be thieves and crooks and vandals from breaking in and stealing your personal items. The trunk does have various tie hooks, and hidden beneath the floor of the trunk, below this small little handle, is essentially an additional hidden smaller compartment that's fairly deep, that allows you to store additional items. This person, in true enthusiast fashion, has chosen to store their front license plate in a hidden compartment in case they do get pulled over. But style over the law. And then this piece goes right over. Very, very nice. At the tip of the hatch of your F-Type, there is this very cool looking glow in the dark handle in case you somehow walk, trip, and fall head over feet into the trunk of your F-Type and it happens to close on you. You can escape very nimbly using this glow-in-the-dark handle. Another cool function of the Jaguar F-Type trunk, and I feel like it's located in a very strange position, is essentially right at the edge of the trunk. There is a essentially an opening to refill your windshield wiper fluid. Now, this is probably the windshield wiper fluid for the rear, quite possibly, or the front. And very subtly at the edge of the trunk, to help protect that updated 2018 rear bumper from damage when you are loading heavier items, is this silver trim panel that has the Jaguar logo etched into the center. Function and fashion. There are two integrated trunk lights, and this entire trunk is powered, so you never have to use your physical force to close it. If you want to close your trunk, you can go ahead and look for this button here at the top hatch, give it one good click, and the whole trunk closes all on its own. Let's begin the interior tour of this 2018 Jaguar F-Type base trim, and we'll start with the driver's side door panel. And here it is. This car is finished in a black and black suede leather interior. The top of the door panel is finished in that black leather material with a black cross stitch running across the top. In the center of the door panel, there is a nice silver trim. And that silver trim basically houses your door handle. The door handle is finished in a black trim material. To the right of the door handle, you do have your powered seat controls with 3 memory seat settings. There is soft touch lock and unlock buttons for your driver and passenger side door. The door handle is also trimmed in that black leather material with a black cross stitch. Hidden within the door handle is your side mirror control switch, and behind that is one of the speakers of your Meridian surround sound system. Underneath the door handle of the Jaguar F-Type on the driver's side is a small storage compartment, enough to throw your sunglasses or your phone or your wallet in there for storage. On the door sill of your driver's side door panel, you do have a silver trimmed door sill with the Jaguar name etched into it. Now let's take a look at the cockpit of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type Coupe. We'll start with the steering wheel. Part of the 2018 mid-cycle update is this flat bottom, leather wrapped steering wheel. I love that flat bottom finish. Definitely a very exotic car feel to it. The leather wrapped steering wheel has a really nice contrasting black cross stitch. The tri-spoke steering wheel has a nice silver trim finish along the edges. In the center, you do have a large center horn with a single Jaguar emblem, kind of like having a pet cat riding with you in your driver's seat. Very powerful horn with a center airbag. To the left of the horn, you do have your menu controls to adjust the digital screen and instrument cluster. You can also make phone calls. This car is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capable. To the right of the steering wheel, you have your cruise control settings. This entire steering wheel is powered. It does move up and down and tilt forward and backwards using a button that is mounted at the bottom left of the steering wheel here. Behind the steering wheel, you do have paddle mounted shifters when you do want to manually shift your automatic ZF transmission in your Jaguar F-type, the right side shifts up, the left side shifts down, and they're made out of very sturdy stainless steel material. Behind that, on the right side, you have your windshield wiper control stalk, and to the left you have your turn signal and your headlight combined control stalk. To the left of the steering wheel, you do have a series of buttons. Underneath the left side, heat and cool outlet. Down here you have 3 buttons. The top left button here is to open your power trunk. The right is your big rectangular button is your headlight control button. You do have a lane keeping assist button. And on the right, this button here, this dial here, is to basically change the brightness on your instrument cluster and your dash buttons. The top of the dash is trimmed in that same matching leather material with that black cross stitch. Up top, you do have a rimless rear view mirror, very clean, very sleek. You do have your underneath the rear view mirror, you do have 3 buttons to program your home link. So if you do have for example, a garage door opener, you can go ahead and program the code into one of these buttons here and store it. Up top, you do have driver and passenger side dome light, and the left and right side, driver and passenger side, do have these side mirrors, and these are one of the funniest side mirrors that sun visors that I've seen. It's laughably essentially just kind of like these long rectangular, very thin. I'm not sure how much light you're going to block with this. And they also give you a very like tiny vanity mirror. That's pretty hilarious. I wonder why they made it so thin. But that's the driver's side, and the passenger has a matching small visor with a matching vanity mirror. So those are your sun visors that are wrapped in the same headliner material. This headliner is essentially kind of like a black synthetic cloth material. It's a soft touch. Not quite Alcantara, but it still feels and looks good. So one really unique aspect of the essentially the climate control system of the Jaguar F-type takes place essentially in the center dash portion here. So I'm going to go ahead and start the car up and show you what I mean. So when you turn on the AC, essentially the center portion vents essentially rise up from the center dash. Very, very cool. So I definitely feel cold air coming from out of there. And then when you turn off your climate control, as such, the center vents essentially close up and hide away. And that is one of the most unique features of the climate control system in the 2018 Jaguar F-type. The Jaguar F-Type features an 8-inch multimedia touchscreen. This has been updated in the 2018 Jaguar F-Type mid-cycle update. The touchscreen both has the ability to access the buttons via the touchscreen, or to the left and right sides of the multimedia screen, there are correlated analog buttons such as home, camera access, climate control access, and accessing your Bluetooth or your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto linked phone. So beneath your touchscreen multimedia system, you have your analog knobs to essentially control your climate control within your Jaguar F-Type. The left and the right sides are to control the dual zone climate depending on the passenger or driver side. The center is your fan access or fan strength. And then you essentially have your AC buttons and your defroster buttons right underneath that. Right in the center of your climate control buttons is your emergency brake lights. And below that, you do have a essentially your very important ignition start-stop button. And to the right of that, you have essentially a cigarette type charging outlet. And directly underneath that is essentially your transmission area. And this is your automatic ZF transmission found in the base 2018 Jaguar F-Type. The shift knob of your ZF automatic transmission essentially is wrapped in a nice matching black leather with chrome accents surrounding the rest. This transmission does feature a sport shift option. All you have to do is shift the shift knob over to the left hand side, and you're able to essentially control the revs via the either shifting up and down on the shift knob or using the correlated paddle shifters on your Jaguar's steering wheel. To the left of the shift knob is essentially your driving modes button. When you shift it up to the snowflake, that is to set the driving mode for rain, sleet, and hail. And then when you toggle that off, you're essentially in normal driving mode. And then when you toggle down to my favorite button, the checkered flag, the checkered flag essentially represents what Jaguar likes to call dynamic mode. And the dynamic mode is essentially the race mode, or the most aggressive driving setting in your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. So when that checkered flag is on, you're essentially in race mode of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. Underneath that, you do have an electronic parking brake. And to the right, you have a series of buttons. The top right corner with the 2 exhaust tips is essentially your button for your variable exhaust. As I mentioned earlier, Jaguar does offer a factory variable exhaust option for right around $300. And with that, you're able to essentially open and close the baffles of the exhaust and making your exhaust quieter or louder depending on your situation. And all that sound is controlled via this button that's integrated into the center console. The bottom left is your automatic start-stop option. The car does have this for fuel efficiency reasons, but some people may find that feature a little frustrating or annoying, and you can turn that off by clicking that A button. The bottom right corner with the spoiler with the up and down button is essentially your button to press if you want to essentially raise or lower that rear electronic spoiler in the rear. So again, that rear spoiler is deployed two ways. When you hit a certain miles per hour, it will deploy, or if you want to look fast sitting still, you can deploy that spoiler pressing that button on the bottom right corner. Top left is turning off traction control. And to the right of the shift knob, you do have a nifty volume control knob for your multimedia system. The driver side dash area is essentially very driver centric. Maybe not to the point of, for example, a Chevy Corvette Stingray, but essentially there's this essentially grab handle for either, probably for your passenger, that essentially separates your passenger from all the controls of the driver. I think that's a pretty cool option, and they can also hold on to that when race mode kicks in. Your passenger does have a center airbag, and this little button here, when you press that there, you deploy a lockable glove compartment. I think that's a very unique way to open the glove compartment and a very clean integration. Behind the steering wheel, the instrument cluster is composed of a combination of an analog and digital display. So to the left, you do have an analog speedometer, and on the right, you do have an analog rev meter. But in the center, you do have a touch of modern with a small digital screen in the center that displays various sorts of information, and that screen can be adjusted using this button to the left of the Jaguar's steering wheel horn. Now let's take a look at some of those screen options on your hybrid digital/analog instrument cluster in your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. Underneath your 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, you do have standard two very heavy-duty cup holders. As you can see, I'm holding essentially one venti Starbucks drink and a smaller Starbucks drink, and I was carving the canyons earlier, and the cup holders were definitely sturdy enough to hold both drinks very, very well. So again, two great sturdy cup holders in your Jaguar F-Type. And behind that, you do have a leather wrapped center armrest, and behind that center armrest is a center storage compartment that also doubles up as a functional storage unit and charging station. So the center armrest essentially features various charging ports, such as two USB ports, a HDMI input, a input for a SIM card, and a 12-volt charging port. The inside of the center console storage unit is lined in a very soft felt material to help protect your belongings. And that is the armrest in your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. Behind your center armrest storage, up top, you have a laughable small cargo net to store possibly your phone or your wallet. It's a very odd place to put something like that, but again, additional storage always helps. This navigation system is your standard InControl Touch Pro infotainment system with navigation. And this infotainment system was updated and part of the 2018 mid-cycle update of the interior of your 2018 Jaguar F-Type. And here is your passenger side of the 2018 updated passenger and driver side seats. The base trim seats come standard with a center Alcantara material surrounded by a black leather with black cross-stitch finish on the exterior areas of the seat. I love the two-tone finish, and I especially love the synthetic Alcantara material in the center. And I love also how it's essentially Jaguar gives it to you for free as a base trim. There is a factory option to have a full leather wrapped front passenger and driver side seat in a much more supple and expensive leather, if you do prefer the entire seat to be wrapped and powered. These are the updated 2018, what Jaguar likes to call the slimline seat design. And essentially the slimline design essentially made the seats essentially look more slim, but they also saved 17 pounds of weight over the previous year's F-type base seats. The seats are powered 12 ways. Although this base edition that we are testing today does not have it, there is an option of heated and ventilated seat options in your Jaguar F-type in the higher trims. Here is your updated 2018 multimedia system in your 2018 Jaguar F-type. It is now an 8-inch swipe and pinch touchscreen with a powerful Touch Pro system with included navigation. Standard features include Bluetooth connectivity, 1 USB, a 12-volt socket, a 380-watt 10-speaker Meridian sound system with Sirius and HD radio. And here is the driver's seat of the updated 2018 quote-unquote Jaguar slimline seats. These are the base seats offered in the 2018 Jaguar F-type, and they are wrapped in the center with a synthetic suede material, and the outer portions are wrapped in a black leather with black leather contrast finish. Let's begin the test drive of this 2018 Jaguar F-type base trim. As a reminder, the 2018 Jaguar F-type base trim was updated with the turbocharged inline-4 2.0 liter motor. It pushes out roughly 300 horsepower and 300 foot-pounds of torque. All that power is sent to the rear wheels via a ZF automatic transmission. So just like in any other gas and gavel video review, the first thing we always want to do is put on our seatbelt, safety first, and start up the car. This car does have a keyless ignition push to start. And my absolute favorite thing to do is always is to turn on race mode. Fortunately, this car does come with multiple driving modes. It comes with a snow, sleet, and rain, hail driving mode, and it also comes in a normal driving mode, and finally it comes in something called what Jaguar likes to call dynamic mode, which is essentially race driving mode for this Jaguar F-type. And in order to access that, next to the shift knob on the ZF automatic transmission, there's a button that has a black and white checkered flag, and you click on that. And essentially when you turn dynamic mode on, the gauge cluster will turn an entire race red, and it'll tell you that dynamic mode is on. And in the center console of the instrument cluster, there will be a black and white finish line checkered flag highlighted, and that means that you are in dynamic race mode of your Jaguar F-type. And when you turn on dynamic mode, essentially several things happens to the car. Number one, the steering becomes slightly a bit heavier to give you better road feel. Second, the transmission holds its rev a little longer, allowing you to have much more aggressive revs and downshifts and upshifts in your ZF automatic transmission. The third thing is that the variable exhaust in the rear, the baffles open up completely, allowing a free-flowing exhaust and allowing you to hear the entire rumble of that inline-4 turbocharged motor. And the car just becomes much more responsive when you're accelerating and turning and steering. And that is essentially race mode, and that is the mode that we're in right now. So let's go ahead and see how this base Jaguar F-type performs. So we're gonna start with acceleration. So this morning, the first thing I noticed when I got into this vehicle was there is a noticeable amount of turbo lag in this turbocharged motor, and essentially I have to step on the accelerator about a third of the way down and hold it for about 1 to 2 seconds before the car starts moving. And so yeah, this car does have essentially 1 to 2 seconds of very noticeable turbo lag. And so what's strange about this car is that unlike other cars, that once you get past the turbo lag, usually you have this like huge upkick of acceleration and power because the turbos have essentially fully spooled up. In this car, it's kind of odd because even after you get past the turbo lag, it still takes a while for the turbo to spool up faster. And I feel that that's just the way the turbo and the ECU of this car, this is how Jaguar programmed this turbocharged inline-4. The power is much more linear. Whereas, for example, last week in the Porsche Boxster Cayman, the 2022 that we test drove, which was a base model that also came with an inline-4 turbocharged motor with a matching PDK automatic transmission. That car makes roughly the same amount of horsepower as this inline-4 turbocharged motor, but that inline-4 turbocharged motor is just much faster and much more responsive. This car, for some reason, is just a lot more slow, and that's the honest truth. The acceleration in this car, I rated at 6 out of 10. I thought that the acceleration would improve if I went onto highway and hit the higher RPMs, but I can tell you right now that no matter what RPM you're in, this car just feels very underpowered, and the acceleration is just very slow. And there's just quite a lot of turbo lag initially. So again, acceleration in this Jaguar F-type, I rated 6 out of 10. Brakes, the brakes are very solid in this car. Again, the front brakes come with the 4-piston Jaguar branded big brake calipers. I can only assume they probably come from Brembo. They feel great. I've been driving on them for pretty aggressively for the past like hour, and it has not let up at all, 0. I like the firm yet supportive brake. It's not overtly strong, but again, it's just like this linear brake that inspires confidence. And I also feel the brakes are also dramatically improved simply because of the 4-cylinder motor. The 4-cylinder motor does save you a bit of weight savings in the front end of this F-type compared to the previous base V6. You save about an entire person, which is about 100 plus pounds. So the brakes, yeah, they feel great. I rate the brakes in this car a 7 out of 10. Suspension. So in the base Jaguar F-type, the base suspension is essentially a non-adjustable suspension. What Jaguar gives you is what you get. In the higher trim models of the Jaguar F-type, there is an option for like adaptable, adjustable race suspension. But again, this is the bare bones, what you get for free in your base Jaguar F-type suspension, and essentially the suspension settings for the base F-type is essentially Jaguar has set it essentially between a compromise between being able to carve the corners like these very confidently, and also being able to manage the day-to-day driving over rougher roads and absorbing those hits so you're not breaking your back on that suspension. And it's a good medium. I really do love the suspension in this car. I would say that, so last week we reviewed that 718 Boxster / Cayman base model, and that also came with a base suspension, non-adjustable. And that car is a mid-engine setup, so the handling on that car is just a dream. And I can say that this F-type comes very close. There's nothing fancy about the mounting of this engine. It's just a front engine car with rear-wheel drive. It's not even front engine mid-mounted. But I feel that with the weight savings of the inline 4-cylinder motor over the V6, and just the fact that Jaguar has tuned the base suspension so well that again, I'm taking these corners both sharp and not very confidently. This car is very tossable. There's zero body lean, I can tell you that much right now, at least none that I can notice, no matter how hard and aggressively I drive in these corners. When I accelerate and brake, there's literally zero squatting of the front and rear end. The car's just neutral. It feels really great. It feels close to the Boxster. Does it feel better than the Boxster? No, but it definitely comes very close. And I rate the suspension in this car, especially the base suspension that you get for free from Jaguar, a solid 8 out of 10. The steering wheel. So I really love the not only the feel of the steering wheel. Let's talk about the feel of the steering wheel itself. This is a flat bottom steering wheel, and it just feels really great. In race mode, the steering does become noticeably heavier, and you probably end up using about 10% of your arm strength to turn the steering wheel, but it feels good. It's a good type of road feel, and it just feels I'm very connected to the road. But if I do get lazy later, and I can adjust, basically turn off race mode, and in normal mode, essentially the power steering actually increases, and the steering becomes much more lighter, equating to a more like luxury grand touring car, so I have to do less work. So I do like the adaptability of the steering in this car and the variability. So I rate the steering on this car a solid 8 out of 10, not only but in looks, but also in performance and feel. Wherever I point the car to, the car just goes. It stays straight when I need it to be, but when I need to go right or left, I can just point and it goes. It's very responsive. Again, 8 out of 10 for steering. Let's talk sounds. So when I was doing the review of this car, one of the options that was listed on this car was essentially a $300 variable exhaust straight from Jaguar, and this car is equipped with it. And with that variable exhaust, you can essentially close and open the baffles, making the exhaust louder and quieter based upon your preferences, straight from your dashboard with a button. So in my initial research on it, a lot of the people have experienced the Jaguar variable exhaust in this F-type, especially the base model, basically said that it wasn't worth it. And for me, when I do reviews, I usually research for the knowledge, but I try to keep an open mind. But I gotta agree with the reviewers in this one. The exhaust, whether it's open or closed, it doesn't sound great. You can't hear anything at all. There's no pops, there's no gurgles, there's no growls. I'm gonna go ahead and put the window down and let you hear, and let you be a judge, and you tell me. So right now I'm currently in race mode with the baffles on, and you tell me what it sounds like. Again, it just doesn't sound aggressive enough for me, even with the baffles fully open. I wish there was a much deeper grumble. And some people would say like, oh, it doesn't sound great because it's an inline four. But in last week's review of the Porsche 718 Cayman, that car also has an inline four and a variable exhaust, and that exhaust sounds amazing. So again, I think again, I have to agree with the previous people who have reviewed this car with the variable exhaust. Save your $300. It's not really worth it, whether it's on or open or closed. The baffles on that variable exhaust, the exhaust doesn't sound great. You can't hear anything at all. The second ding to this car when it comes to sound is essentially just like certain new manufacturers nowadays, they do pipe artificial engine and exhaust noise through the stereo system in this car. I don't have the stereo on right now, but again, this car does have it, and I'm not really a fan of that. I like the natural exhaust raw noises, and yeah, I'm just not a fan of that fake exhaust and engine noise. So again, I rate the sound in this car 5 out of 10. This car essentially is another aspect of sound is interior sound. So this car is it is an enthusiast sports car, but I feel like because it's a Jaguar, it lies in the much more higher echelon of luxury, and the interior should be a little bit more quiet. The issue with this interior is that there are creaks and rattles here and there, but also there's a lot of road noise. It's very noticeable and it's very loud, and I probably equate that to the fact that in 2018 with the mid-cycle update, the Jaguar F-Type in the base model received an upgraded 20-inch wheel and tire package, and with that upgraded 20-inch wheel and tire package, you do get a thinner sidewall profile and a tire, leading to a little bit rougher ride and just a little more road noise. So I feel like the interior of this car could use a little bit more interior sound dampening. But again, this car is odd. It's really loud where I don't want it to be, but it's very quiet where I need it to be. So again, the sound of this car, I rate it a 5 out of 10. Let's talk seats. So the seats in this car is this 2018 model does come with the 2018 mid-cycle updates, and part of that mid-cycle updates are the upgraded seats. The base seats in the 2018 F-Type are essentially the center portion is a synthetic suede material, which I love, and then the outer portions of the seat, the redesigned seat, is leather. So let's start with what I love about it. The seat looks great, it feels great. I love the center portion with the suede, and this car has one of the best electronic lumbar supports of any car I've driven. It's again, not only is the lumbar support electronic, but it's also very generous, and it feels really great. My two complaints about the seats is essentially this, is that I wish that the thigh bolsters on the seats were a little bit more aggressive or a little higher. I feel like I do slide around the seat a little bit, and I would like a little bit more aggressive bolstering on the thigh area. Also, the updated seats in the headrest area, although they look great, the headrests essentially look more like bucket race seats, and or at least the top portions of a bucket race seats, and it's not adjustable. So essentially, in certain positions, I'm not able to adjust the neck position of the top headrest, so it can become a little uncomfortable for your neck. But otherwise, the seats, they look great, and they I love the material, and I rate the seats a 7 out of 10. So for the next portion of the video, I'm just going to put the windows down and just drive and let you enjoy the sights and sounds of Glendora Mountain Road here in California, and the 2018 Jaguar F-Type. And I guess that's the end of the road. I hope you guys enjoyed this test drive of this 2018 Jaguar F-Type base trim. The first pro of the 2018 Jaguar F-Type is essentially comes down to the word dare to be different and one of a kind. So the closest competitors to the Jaguar F-Type, especially in the base trim, is essentially the Porsche 718 Boxster Cayman, the Chevy Corvette Stingray, and any BMW M model, any Mercedes-Benz AMG model, possibly the Toyota Supra / BMW Z4. And if you go to any Cars and Coffee event, you definitely know the Jaguar F-Type's competitors are definitely much more popular and much more purchased than the Jaguar F-Type. In fact, I've hardly ever seen any of these F-Types around. Not at Cars and Coffee, and not even on just like regular daily driving roads. So again, in its category, it's pretty rare. And if you want to stand out from the crowd at your next Cars and Coffee, picking up a Jaguar F-Type is definitely probably the way to go. You'll definitely pull up next to probably 10 Boxsters, 8 Corvette Stingrays, a few Z06s, definitely a lot of BMW M's, handful of Mercedes AMG models, maybe a Maserati Gran Turismo MC thrown in there, but you'll definitely be one of the few with the Jaguar F-Type. Again, it may not be as fast as its competitors, or have a mid-engine, or have a Targa top, but again, in the realm of British two-door sports coupe, it's one of the best looking. And if you want to stand out from the crowd, one of the biggest pros of the 2018 Jaguar F-Type, either in the base trim or the higher trim models, is that not a lot of people have them. They're pretty rare, and again, you'll definitely stand out from the crowd in your Jaguar F-Type. The first con of the 2018 Jaguar F-Type comes down to the word, it's actually not even about the car itself. It's essentially, the biggest con is related to the issue of the public relations or the brand image that Jaguar is having right now in 2025. I touched upon it in the beginning of this video. Again, the Jaguar brand is currently in the dumpster right now. For not only car enthusiasts, but also the general public. And essentially, when Jaguar announced their new brand strategy, and everyone went nuts, essentially, a lot of the owners of the F-Type and similar Jaguars decided to put their cars for sale on the used car market in fears that the PR nightmare would affect their residual values. And essentially that created a very vicious cycle where now there are a lot more surplus supply of these used Jaguars in the market, leading to a further depreciation in the cost of these Jaguars, especially in the used market. And as a reminder, the used market is the only place you're going to find these Jaguars from here on out. In 2024, Jaguar essentially shut down all of their manufacturing facilities and production of any internal combustion engine car. And essentially, if you want a Jaguar, you're either gonna have to buy a lightly used one, a heavily used one on the used car market, or if you're lucky, maybe you'll find a dealer that has a new one stashed away somewhere. But Jaguar is not producing any more Jaguar internal combustion engines. So essentially, back to the biggest con. The biggest con is essentially, if you buy your Jaguar, and with the unknown future of Jaguar and its brand image down in the toilet, essentially you're going to be risking a very large and quick depreciation of your purchase. And nobody likes to lose money on their car. I mean, we all expect to lose a little bit maybe even break even. But again, essentially with the controversial essentially brand reset and just the tarnished reputation of Jaguar, the biggest con is that if you do purchase your used Jaguar or even almost new Jaguar, there's a high chance that it's going to depreciate, and it's going to depreciate a lot very quickly. The depreciation is going to be so fast and so hard, you'll even scare Maserati owners, and we all know how fast a Maserati depreciates. So again, biggest con is brand image and depreciation and residual values in your used F-type or similar Jaguar. So be sure to do your research before you do purchase one, especially right now in 2025. Protect your wallet, protect your money, and be smart about your money. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of this 2018 Jaguar F-type base trim model. If you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe to the Gas and Gavel YouTube channel. We truly do appreciate your support, and tune in next week for more performance, enthusiast, exotic, and possibly British car reviews.